it's Carol from Cape Cod Cottage Garden, and welcome. It has been quite a while since I've shared my garden with you all. We've had a very busy first summer on the Cape, as you can imagine. We've had company every single weekend, and while it was so much fun, it was lovely, and we had such a good time, my filming and my garden had to take a back seat. Plus, with the drought we had this summer on the Cape, it was the hottest summer I can ever remember with no rain. So literally all I could do was get my watering done. Sometimes it took me an hour or two every day just to hand water all my new plantings. As you know, I put in, so many, I don't remember how many, but a lot. 200 and something plants that needed to be hand watered every day. So with that and having company, I really couldn't say, oh, excuse me, I'm gonna go out and putter in my garden for 3 hours. So that didn't really happen. So today I'm just gonna give you a quick overview of what my garden looks like today, September 17th. It's pretty late in the season. I haven't been doing deadheading. I haven't been cleaning out my gardens very well at all. So it's kind of not showing its best self, but it is the end of the season. And I've honestly been a little burnt out on it too myself, as everybody does around this time of year, I think. So I'll give you a quick little look. And I didn't really prepare for this. I was just sitting on my patio, reading my book, thinking, gosh, I haven't shown anybody my garden in a long time. So I just picked up my camera and went for it. So it's kind of quick. I ran through and not very detailed or very informative, but I hope you'll enjoy seeing what it looks like. I want to show you the good parts of it and the bad parts of it. And right now it's just not looking so great, but I'm still enjoying it. And I'm very pleased with mostly everything in the garden. And I'm really looking forward to next year and putting some more, some fresh things in and seeing how it does. And hopefully everything that I planted that is perennial will come back next year, but we'll see. So thank you again for watching and enjoy this short video. Bye-bye. Before I start the garden tour, I just have to share with you my lovely cat, Mr. Momo. Hi, baby. Isn't he a peach? I don't know if it's hard to see with the sun. He's my love bug. Anyway, so let's get on to the garden. So here's my front garden bed, the one along my walkway. I want to say that I've been very pleased with my hydrangeas. I think for a first year planted, they put on an incredible show. They're at the pink stage now, and some of them are a little burnt out, but look at all the blooms on those 3 Bobo hydrangeas. Absolutely stunning. There's even a couple of new blooms. You can see one right over there, a white one. I'll get a little closer. Overall, in this garden, I have to say, I was very happy with it. I may have overdone it a little bit with the plantings, but live and learn. What I really loved about this garden was I loved the daisies. I absolutely loved the salvia. What I really didn't love was the phlox. The phlox has been struggling. Both the pink and the white phlox got powdery mildew, which I had to treat. And although the white did better than the pink, probably my least favorite thing about the garden was the phlox. I really did enjoy all the mini vista petunias. They are not really flowering now, and sorry, my shadow was in it. They are really not flowering that much anymore, so I probably should pull them, but I don't want it to pull them quite yet. It's still nice and beautiful and sunny. I'm not ready to have this look all barren. But I do have to come through and deadhead all of these flowers and just clean it up a bit. Like I said in my intro, I really have done nothing. And as you know, I really did love this pincushion flower all year. I've been touting how great it is. But if you don't deadhead it, of course it's not going to flower. And these are pretty much dried out seed heads now, so they're not going to push out any more flowers. I will come through and deadhead this. I have to get to work on this. No more excuses and no more being so lazy. I really did love the cone flowers. So I guess I liked everything in this garden. I wasn't really happy with the phlox. Other than that, everything I would do all over again. Here are my pots outside my garage, and although they still look really lush and pretty, not a lot of flowers. So these things can only push out so much, and to be fair, I haven't been feeding these, and these kind of flowers, they really do need a lot of plant food, but they're still green and pretty and full, so I'm keeping them for now. So that's the front garden bed. And now I'll show you the other pot I have out here, my front pot, which again is very lush and green, but not so many flowers. I mean, obviously the media shower verbena is still doing pretty well And we all know how much I love the Silver Falls dichondra. I will definitely use that again. And in the front, all of my hydrangeas, they're all first year plantings, and they did really, really well. Lots of blooms. I do think that they all bloomed a little bit early. So now, of course, they've faded early. Not to mention that we had the hottest summer, I believe, on record down the Cape with absolutely no rain. So I would spend, even though these are on drip, I still pretty much water them almost every day, at least a little bit. It took me about 1 or 2 hours, depending on if I did all the plants or some of the plants, every day to hand water this garden this year. So really that's all I could do with the amount of company I had. So especially towards the end of the summer, we were so busy. So I really have not done much with videoing the garden, putting out videos for people to see, and even taking care of the garden, deadheading and so forth. For my sedums, these 3 were beautiful. They were supposed to all be the same sedum, but this one was obviously very different. It came up red. So I don't know how that happened. I bought them all together. They were all marked the same, but it was just a mismarked. So again, I love everything in this front bed. And again, the only thing I don't really love is the phlox, which I have 2 of them. I did want to share that the guava was a lovely plant, and I would definitely use it again someplace else. It's still looking nicely and very minimal care. And the buddleia. I cannot say enough about this buddleia. Excuse me. As you can see, I haven't deadheaded it in probably a month. It's still loaded with butterflies, moths, and bees, and still pushing out new blooms here on September 17th. I highly recommend this plant. Even my nanas are doing great. So that's a look at the front bed. And you can see we put the shutter dogs and the hinges on our shingle, on our shutters. I really like those too. And for the fence bed, of course, you know I have hydrangeas in the back, roses in the front, and the 2 grasses at the end. Everything here is doing actually remarkably well, considering it's full on sun all day long and it's not on drip. But I did water them almost every day. Gave them a good drink. The 2 grasses are doing very nicely, my husband's favorite. Excuse me. Out of the hydrangeas, I would say this second one is doing the worst. This one was suffering too, but right now it's putting up some new flowers. There's a bud there, and there's a bud there. So I'll just walk in my roses. I've been very pleased with the roses. I had one lull over the summer with the roses where I didn't have any blooms on them at all. And I went through and I kind of just, cut them back a little bit, and since then they've been blooming pretty continuously. Very pretty, very happy with them. And very easy keepers, I think. I think I had to spray them once, and of course I went through and took the Japanese beetles off in June because they were all over them. I just hand picked them off. So this is the one hydrangea that's not doing very well out here. This one even has some new flowers on it. I don't know if you can see it. Sorry, it's in the shadow. This one's in the sun better. It's hard to see. But see how dried out these are all? I'd have to get out here and deadhead all this stuff. I think I will do that this weekend. We don't have any company this weekend. This one has tons of huge blooms on it, as does this one. And I always find this one a little interesting, and I don't know why, but the flowers themselves, the petals are very delicate on this, small. These are all of these are the same variety of hydrangea, all of these ones along the fence line, but they're very different. We'll see how they turn out next year. And this one did do the best all summer, but needs to be deadheaded. And I'll just give you a look at some of the roses. Very sunny out, so it's really not showing how beautiful these roses really are. I'll walk down the line and you can see. And then I'll stop here and I'll show you the backyard. So here we are in the backyard. I'll just pan and give you an overview. Oh, the shed door is open. My husband's fixing, Mr. Hubby's fixing the lawnmower. So I'll start with the shade garden, which is actually doing really nicely still. Lots of color. I still have 2 hostas that I have yet to plant. So this is a mix of shade plants and some shade annuals. Shade perennials and some shade annuals. I do have all the plant names in previous videos if you're interested in what these plants actually are. But I really like how this turned out. It's the only place where I really use like red and white in the garden a lot. So I kind of like, I like the textures and the colors in this. Really hard to plant a shade garden in my opinion. So that's that. And then my Buddha garden. My Buddha bed. Oh, I wish the sun wasn't shining on it because it's hard to see it. But all this pink profusion you're seeing here is the globe. I think it's called pink, truffle of pink globe amaranth. I think that's what it's called. That is only 3 small plants, annuals. Look how much color it gives. And it's in the middle of September. So the Supertunia snowdrift has really stopped blooming. And again, to be fair, I haven't been feeding it. The mealy-cup sage is kind of getting past you. I'm trying to do this while I'm not in the shadow, but it's kind of impossible. But I don't want to pull it out yet because it's always covered in bumblebees. There's one right there. Can you see it? Like right now, I think I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's at least 6 bumblebees all over this stuff still. So I'm not pulling it out. And then my rose in the center did have some trouble. It struggled a little bit this year. I had to spray it a couple of times. It had some pests and all kinds of stuff, but it's still doing pretty well and it's putting up some new growth, some new blooms. You can see them right there. So that's the Buddha bed. I'll back up a little bit so you can see the whole thing. And it's mostly annuals. Actually, it's all annuals except for that rose bush. So we'll see what I do with this one next year. I thought it came out really nice, actually. And then over here with my patio pot, it has gone wild. Despite cutting back that sweet potato vine probably 2 or 3 times, it has overtaken the pot. There is some lemon coral sedum under there. I had some white wand flower. Let me see if I can show you without being in the... But there still is always butterflies and stuff on it, so I'm going to keep it. Still looks okay. There's the lemon coral sedum under there. And I still have some of these fighting their way through. It's a little wild, but it's September. As you can see, the lawn is looking slightly better. Not great. I still have the pots over there I need to plant. I don't know if I'll ever get to those. But all of the emerald green arborvitaes, I think the 20 or so that we planted are doing great. We might be losing 1, so I don't think that's so bad. Then over here in the back, I'll give you like a little view of it. I did finally plant my geranium, my hardy geranium. I planted that right here. Looks like it could use some water. Still flowering though. It's a flower. And then over here, my hydrangeas out here did really well. They got a little burnt out. This one doesn't have any bloom. I did go ahead and deadhead it, so there's no blooms on it. My lilac is doing decent. I'm very pleased with my knockout roses. They have grown so much. These were tiny little plants when I put them in June or whatever it was. And look at all the flowers still on them. I think they look great. Not so great is my tri-colored beech. Despite giving this all the tender love and devotion I could, it dried out. And I just hope it comes back next year. But listen to how crispy it is. It's just sad. And this was not an inexpensive purchase. And I just loved it. So I just hope it comes back. I finally put this in the ground. For some reason, the name right now is escaping me. Here's another hydrangea, doing pretty well. Actually putting out some new flowers. Oh, there's a little butterfly or something on it. Hi there, open your wings. As you can see, my smoke bush has put on tons of growth. I don't know why it's not focusing. There we go. I mean, that was a tiny little plant and now it's taller than me. Another thing I loved about this is I really love these apricot drift roses. They have been a super performer all summer long, giving me color and beautiful fragrance. You can't go wrong with those. And they've grown quite a bit too. I mean, they've had to grow at least, gosh, when I put them in, they were just ground hugging, and now look at them. I don't know if you can tell the height from the angle, but they're pretty tall. They stay pretty low, but they're doing really well. Sadly, this little corner is looking very pathetic. The bunnies really enjoyed eating all my sunflowers. They pretty much decimated the sunflowers and my liatris. And this hydrangea is probably doing the worst. I think because it's full on sun all the time. It's right in front of the shed, so it's getting the reflected light too. So it's just, no matter how much water I put on it, but I think it will come back. I did plant my pussy willow tree right there that my Mr. Hubby bought me. And this window box I did really enjoy. Next year, I don't think I'll be planting the Prince Tut grass. It's just too much plant for that tiny window box. So I think I have to make different choices. But overall, I did like this window box. I really loved this planter, my shed pot. Everybody loved this one. I mean, the canna just puts on such a show. And here it is, mid-September, and it's still putting on a show. Even the petunias are starting to come back a little bit. They did fade a little bit, but there they are into there. And the begonias still going strong. Well, it's blurry, sorry. Let me see if I can get it to focus. It's not really focusing for me, but there's the petunias. I mean, not petunias, begonias. Begonias and petunias. And over here, as I look at this side, I still haven't planted this rainbow ascot spurge, I think it's called. And this tree is doing decent, this other beech tree, the Fagus Weeping Purple Fountain Beech. And oh my gosh, what a show this hibiscus put on. I think this one's called Cherry Chocolate. What a show. I do believe I did put some pictures of that on YouTube and Instagram. I don't know if anybody knows and they can share with me. This isn't a new bloom, I don't think. Is this what the seed pods look like? I'm not sure. But that's the first time I've planted that plant, so I'm not sure. And the butterfly weed did beautifully. It looked dead when I put it in for a couple of weeks, and then it came back and it was flowering gorgeous, but of course it's not flowering anymore. There's another hydrangea here. This rhododendron that I want to move. And then over here, all I have is those plants, some of the plants that I pulled out from that person's yard, perennials, that I never got in the ground. And there's one more hydrangea there. I don't know if I'll ever get those in the ground this year. But next year, we can look forward. This is where my garden's going to go, my vegetable garden. And the grass does look a little better. Marginally so, but a little better. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that mid-September view of my garden. Just a quick little tour. And thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate you watching. And if you like the content, please like and subscribe. Happy fall.